Hello, this is Calcat, the Calcatster, and this is the last day of Fanime Con Silicon Valley 2018. This is some Fanime Con swag. Fanime Con stash, fanfiction writing guide, Fanime program, the Red Turtle, the last Studio Ghibli movie. Ooh, cool. We have or at least the last. We have this artwork from the Permades series. We have the ears and tail to the Halloween costume next year, and possible furry friend art thing. Fanime later on. Yeah, so this is the hall. Such as it is. And there's a hall. It looks like Kitty likes the ears. Yeah. Kitty. So yeah, this is Fanime recap, and the crowd was not as socially awkward as you might think at a convention, at a con. The Big Wow one, they were a little bit not Big Wow anymore. It's called Comic Con. We're a little more awkward. Last year's Fanime was more awkward. This one was less so. Probably because gamers tend to be a little more socially adept. Gamers tend to go into chat room games and things like that, and they just learn more about how to interact with people because they have in their fantasy world. If they have a game, they go in there and do that in a game. So they're more willing and able. So, I liked all the events. I liked day 2 the best, even though the panels yesterday were fun, and even though the today's one panel where they let me get out the panels that was on today. Probably not gonna. Okay. Fan fiction panel on writing fan fiction, and traveling to cons panel, which was kind of like the other ones that were about writing and about con stories, like good and bad stories, mainly bad. There were some socially awkward people. Including a writer last year. That was yesterday. Including a righteous lady that wondered why I was in a slash panel. She was there too. Oh. So, yeah, I don't have much recap stuff. I mean, I have lots of material here. I guess show it closer, I guess. Okay, this is, of course, got the cat tail and cat ears, which I showed earlier. This is something else, reminiscent of some of the sort of stuff from the Grateful Dead back in the day. That's probably why I liked it. I got a Grateful Dead Giant shirt here. Dude, and this was Kiki, 96. Some Kiki's drawing. She's not Japanese, but she she creates things in the Japanese style. She's got maybe she's married to a Japanese guy. Her characters are mermaids and other fish animal anthropomorphized fish mammal things. Yes, a very cute animation website thing. Hopefully she gets a TV show out of it, because that would be awesome. I assumed it was going to be. Maybe not yet. I support local talent. You see. Let's see, and she might not be all that local, but I think she is. Academy of Art, Berkeley, I think is what she was. Anyway, Berkeley. Yeah, that's nearby. I went to San Jose Art, and San Jose State, and Evergreen and San Jose Art. I did not stay in art directly. I went into, it was Evergreen and then State, and I went into humanities into writing portion. I went into creative writing and that kind of thing. But I've always had an affinity for art. Whole family draws, paints and stuff. And one of my journeyman carpenter sister also was a painter and sculptor and clay and mason and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, on my grandmother's side, on my dad's side, they were all creative and they all did musical instruments and that kind of thing. I sing, yeah, as you know. I do song parodies, slam poetry. It's not really rap; it's slam poetry. I declare and stuff like that, drama, stuff like that. Tim and I took Academy of Art stuff in high school, and we were failed child stars. So that's where that comes from. Mark's cards also. We did drama, doing dramas and stuff for years and years. So Tim and I went on and took my friend Tim and I, Big Tim and I took an art class, which we did pretty well in, and not so good in math. Yeah, I was just being an art student. Just I did like the early modern art stuff that was a big thing in the '90s, early '90s. Tim was extremely abstract, but just because his idea of making art is to be extremely abstract. That's all. There was a complainy artsy fartsy lady who was, I guess, trying to teach the students about snooty art people, but it didn't come off that way. It came off more like snooty art lady critiquing everybody, being bitchy. So back in the day, he didn't want to do that anymore as a vocation. And neither did I, but for different reasons. I do some character art and panel things and posters, mainly characters for book covers and things like that. Characters for my own science fiction stuff. I really don't have an artsy panelsy thing. This is a fan fiction writing guide that I keep holding up, but that's different. I've done fan fiction, / fiction, shipping, but I've done regular standard fan fiction too, as Starship Locations is the current one. It's sort of a fan fiction of Star Trek. Yeah, but it's changed enough that it isn't. And I have also Studio Ghibli's Red Turtle. I haven't watched it yet. That I found at a dealer that had it's a video DVD. I found it at the guy that had the official stuff for Studio Ghibli there. It was the Studio Ghibli guy. He had other stuff too. And I really wanted to spend hundreds of dollars there, but I didn't have it, so I didn't really splurge, really. I mean, the tail and the ears is useful later for the next Fanime Con, and it's also useful for the Halloween costume. So it was very practical items, and of course you had to have the swag. So, $60, $70 on that. I probably spent more than that on food, because I had to eat something. Area restaurants are okay, Subway and the new taco place and all that. Yeah, it's alright. Probably could have stood a little hot sauce on that thing. I probably should have put some on there. But the backyard Cajun place is delicious. Anybody that comes out there to San Jose, go to that. The wait's not that long during the con, and you can get in and eat there. It's on Market Street, just past the other. So what I was saying about the art people is that, I try to promote to encourage the art people, or any kind of art people, really, and story writing and that kind of thing as well. Yeah, like the word processing professor said years ago, learn to type. Learn how to actually type. It will help tremendously if you know how to word process. You do that when you're going to write a story. Um, now this art lady was with the fish cats. That's a really awesome idea. Just fish critter thing crossover. It's literally writes itself. You could make something out of that. Yeah, it's that kind of creative stuff that the snooty lady back in 1990 would have been like, oh, that doesn't make sense. No, yes, it totally does. It's awesome. It's like, yeah, she's appealing to both generations. Quirky, sort of creative-looking characters. I noticed that of the art gallery, I grabbed lots of screenshots from the art gallery, mainly of. I seem to like the stylized, like high concept manga paintings the most. The ones that look like a Marvel movie poster, or the ones that look like Disney, or the ones that look like a Sailor Moon, or the ones that look like Super Space Fortress Macross, or Gunbuster, or like maybe that new Academy show, or stuff that's very stylized but realistic looking, vaguely manga sort of characters in the American / Japanese style. I tend to like those, and I tend to draw those as pictures. So that's probably why I like that. I like that the style is similar to Robotech, but it's also similar to Sentinels and some of that other stuff. Similar to Gundam, yeah. Scaflone a little bit, not as high concept as Scaflone. That's very high concept. Star Blazers, Robotech. They are heavily influenced by the early works of the Macross and that kind of thing. But I try to make the eyes look less giant. They just look a little bit giant. So it ends up looking kind of like Hasbro does their stuff, and now Disney does their stuff. So it's weird Hasbro, Marvel, Disney kind of crossover thing in there. And then the other one, I'm not sure if they're still there, but some version of them is. Yeah, so yeah, this convention really was all right. It was cool. I enjoyed it. There was one Calicat Show fan that was there, an older guy who thought my stuff was a little too long-winded. But he watches it, so subscribes to it. There was also well, yeah, I like to talk. Anyway, so yeah, so it's an interesting, going to the Fanime stuff. I was introduced to the Fanime by the stories. We're very early on, and that it was Fanime and Con. It's 2010 and 2011. They were going to go to Fanime, this weird convention thing. It was back when they allowed you to walk at least downstairs in the lobby without paying for the thing. They started saying you had to pay for the whole thing to even go into the proper building after around 2013 or so, late 2014, that you had to get in. You could go up. You used to be able to go. You could go all the way up into the stroll area and stroll back and forth up until 2015, late 2014, early 2015. You could go up there and walk around. They said, no, we don't want to do that anymore. It's partly because of the line cons of 2013, 2012 and 2013. And of course the protesters that were out there, like, being insane, the 2013 one. But it was funny that the Jesus guy ran out there. But yes, I remember that. I was there when that happened. That was funny. Yeah. But yeah, that was 2013. So I could go back and look that up, but I don't think there's a video blog of that one. I'm not sure. I think it was mainly Bacon that I recorded that day. But yeah, I've been going to Fanime since at least 2012. I understand that I went to the 2012 one because Yeah, because Bacon kind of sucked. That's what it was. And Bacon, I went to both usually. Um, Bacon moved in 2015 to the other location. I think that's when it moved. Yeah, because last year it was already gone. Yeah, so it had to be 2015 that it moved, and then 2016. The last one they did was Women of Wonder. I think that was 2014, and that was before the Wonder Woman movie was even a thing. That would have gone over great like last year, but it's never gone already. David Weber was before that. He was the space combat guy. Some of his stuff was. Anyway, so he wasn't at this, but yeah, the con stories that I have are not too impressive. I remember there was one in which a guy insulted a girl that turned him down by saying something about suck his ass or something. To which I said, well, somebody's not getting laid tonight. Some should, way to go, a-hole. No, he's not getting laid. At all. The whole convention knows who that is. They're not going to let him get any. They're going to blacklist him. You're not getting anybody. Nobody's going to give you any play. And I was thinking about that, that idea earlier. It's like, I bet those young guys, and they are young guys their same age that are Campus Crusade guys out there, complaining about costumes. And yeah, the people at the church coffee shop earlier were complaining about that same thing. So they were apparently there. Yeah, they were some of the protesters. That's pretty sad. But well, yeah, as I mentioned at the church coffee shop long before this convention, like a week and a half before, it's like they're not evil for liking costuming. They're just doing dress up like a drama. You're reading way too much into that. It's not adultery or anything like that. To which somebody else, that was a friend of hers, commented, yeah, that's totally just drama. It's like, they're not, as long as they're not obsessed with it, nothing wrong with that. So yeah, it's like, some of them are though. Some of them are obsessed with it. But they would be obsessed with something else if they didn't have that. So it's just as well they have costuming as a thing for them to do, to keep themselves entertained. Mainly, they just want to be they want to be a little famous, so they dress up in a costume. They don't want to be ogled at. They want to be famous. There was a panel on that in 2013. That was the one where Mark's Cards and I went to a Fanime. Yeah, so we were there. Yeah, so yeah, there was a panel on sexuality and cosplay. See, a woman is empowered if she can wear a scanty costume as, say, Wonder Woman or Xena or something. And isn't ogled at, but rather she's empowered. She's like, hey, I'm dressed like this, and hey, now, I'll cut off your nuts with this sword. Arr. She's empowered. Whereas the ones that are like, ooh, dress up like that so I can see your boobs. Like, no, that's exploitative. Okay, the Zack Snyder movie that I use as Sucker Punch. Yeah, that's exploitative to have them imagine they're not being accosted. It's just stupid. Yeah, don't cosplay is no consent. Okay, anyway, but yeah. So I was thinking that some of those guys that have worked protesting, thou dost protest much, as Lady Macbeth would say, out damn spot. And what Jesus also implied in the woman committed adultery, thou shalt not cast the first stone. If you are without sin, cast the first stone. And none of them, they all left because they couldn't cast a stone at her because they were all guilty of something. So what it probably is some of these guys were rejected at a con, and ever since then they've been complaining about it. I bet if somebody went up there and said to one of those protester guys, and they weren't there today, they were there yesterday, and said, look, I bet that you were rejected about 3 or 4 years ago at a convention by some cat lady with big boobs. Probably looked at her, she probably said, fuck you, up yours, and, and ever since then, you're like, oh, I have to destroy all the sinners. Like, no, you were a douchebag at a convention, and you got caught. That's why. Like, come on. That's probably what happened. Or you were like repressed, or your family like wouldn't let you go to the convention. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you couldn't even go at all because hyper religious family was like, no, thou shalt not dress up as a anime character. To reform you or something. Like, then you'll just end up being a closeted My Little Pony brony. And you know, you should just do that instead of protesting. Or something. There's not as many bromies as there used to be. Became a pejorative, I guess. I think Mark Shikard still is, though. As because it's used that one. Yes. I have a tail and ears that makes me a friend of a furry. Not a furry. Friend of furries, but not a furry. I think the fox person was somebody from the cast. Yes, the fantastic Mr. Fox was there. I haven't seen that movie cartoon, but I have seen Isle of Dogs, and there was at least one Isle of Dogs person there, which was cool. So somebody saw that movie. But yeah, there was at least one person dressed like the kid and the dog. So they were like together. That's cool. But yeah, somebody saw it. And somebody, fantastic Mr. Fox. Yeah, there was a lot of people were this academia show. Yeah, just kind of sort of Harry Potter but with math. Academia, of course. Sort of a Japanese girls' school. They do that whole thing. Yeah, and yeah, the Lolita thing. They're not talking about the porn Lolita. They're talking about lolly schoolgirl pop art. It's different. It's not supposed to be sexual, but of course there is hentai, and there's Rule 34. Yeah, you probably don't want to see that. Yeah, you.